Hi, I'm now joined by Steve Quinn via Skype from the Football University. Steve, thanks very much for joining us on the show. I really appreciate you taking your time out to have a chat with us.
Great, Stewart. Thanks for having me on.
Steve, we know you best for running the Football University in the States. You've now come over to the UK. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I actually I'm the National Recruiting Director, the Sales Director for Football University, and this year, we're running 47 camps across the world now, I guess it's safe to say, now since we're going to be doing one in Scotland and in the Netherlands coming up here in April. And so, this all got started 5 years ago, and it really got started 12 years ago when the president and founder, Rich McGinnis, started the U.S. Army AllAmerican Bowl, which I think a lot of you guys got a chance to see over the internet. And we actually had several of your coaches from the UK down to see our event 2 weeks ago. So that's kind of where the whole thing started, was through the U.S. Army game. And the idea was when Rich started Football University was a lot of these athletes, like you talked about, Tim Tebow and Ndamukong Suh and Mark Sanchez and Percy Harvin and Joe Thomas, all these guys playing in the NFL, although they obviously were great at their position and probably were the fastest and the strongest and could jump the highest, but the one thing they lacked was in some of these kids and some of the kids that played in the All-American game was the proper fundamentals and techniques. So when Rich started this thing 5 years ago, that was kind of the whole way this was built, was when bringing kids in and bringing these top kids in to teach them the proper fundamentals and techniques of the game. And so we went out and found the best instructors in North America, and we bring 200 of the top kids in every region we go into, and they come in for 3 days over a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they get an opportunity to work with the best coaches in the world and work on proper fundamentals, proper techniques, get an idea of what it takes to get to the next level. A lot of these kids are looking to get Division I, Division II, Division III scholarships, and we kind of help them and educate them, not only on the football field but in the classroom, and then also educate them on the process of what it takes to get to the next level.
Steve, on Gridiron TV, we're trying to promote youth football as much as we possibly can. And at the moment, as far as we're aware, there's 2 players, an ex-Edinburgh Wolves player, and also you've got Tom Watt of the Oklahoma Sooners, who are currently playing college ball in the States. Do you expect to see more UK youth players making that transition to the college game?
I think that's partially, what we like to do. And we kind of talked about that when we were out there in September with Coach Zerline and with Coach Moore and with Cecil Martin and with all the guys that were out there that attended the clinic that we had. I think that's not our number one goal, is to come over and promise any scholarships and things like that. That's not really, what we do. We're more coming over to work on the proper fundamentals and techniques, and if along the way we're able to also help kids out, to possibly get some contacts and to possibly filter some kids over to the States, and whether it be at the high school level or at the college level, we definitely have the contacts to do that. And so I think that would be the next level after we get over there and do a camp or two and really get our feet secured in the ground and on what's going on over there and how the approach is. I think a lot of emails that I've got from the kids in the UK is, how do we get to the next level? What do we do to get noticed? And like we tell them over here, a lot of the kids that participate in our events, we had 2 kids from the UK that came over in July and participated in Williamsburg at our Top Gun event from the Bristol Aztecs, and they did a great job. I talked to Bill Bradley, their position coach, who's a 20-year NFL veteran coach and has put a lot of time into our camps, how these 2 kids fared, and they both held their own.
Steve, looking back at the Football University clinic you held at Stirling last year, getting some great positive feedback from players and coaches alike, especially the fact they got the chance to meet Coach Zerline. Do you expect to bring something different this time round when you come back in April this year?
Yeah, it's a great question, Stewart. I mean, what you guys saw when we were out there before, what we did is we did 10 clinics across Europe. We came to the UK, did 3 there, went over to the Netherlands, and then over to Austria and did a couple over there. And they really were more focused on blocking and tackling techniques. Obviously with Coach Zerline and Coach Moore there, who are the best at the business at those 2 things. Those were clinics, and it really tried to brand our name over there and get an opportunity to kind of give everybody a taste of what FBU is all about. When we come over in April 20th for the camp, Friday night is going to be a coaches clinic, and you're going to get 3 or 4 of some of the finest coaches. Larry and Laird are still coming over, but we're also going to have Bill Bradley as a defensive backs coach. We're going to have Dave Diaz-Infante, who has 2 Super Bowl rings, former Denver Bronco. That's going to be over. We're going to have Gene Dahlquist, which many of you guys might know. He's the former head coach of the Scottish Claymores. That's going to be our quarterbacks coach coming over. Ted Cottrell, former defensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. Robert Ford, former running backs coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And so we're bringing over 8 coaches plus a head coach that kind of oversees all the coaches. And it's going to be much more position-specific training, where the offensive line are going to go with the offensive line coach, the defensive line coach, and so on and so forth. And they're going to get 18 hours of on-field and in-classroom instruction. So what you saw back in September was just kind of a sliver of what we did and what we're about to do in April, where you're going to get 2.5 days of football, 7-on-7s, 1-on-1s, a lot of X's and O's, a lot of classroom time where we're breaking down video and doing video analysis, and also getting a lot of good education from the NFL coaches. And hopefully a lot of the parents and coaches will attend a lot of the classroom time, so they get an opportunity to ask questions and voice whatever they like to know about what it takes to get to the next level. And of course, Friday night, we hope that we have a huge turnout for our coaches clinics. That's going to go from 6 to 10 p.m. there at Sterling University. It's going to be a clinic with probably 3 or 4 of our coaches. And as you guys saw with Coach Zerline and Coach Moore, just think about that with 2 more coaches. It'll be unbelievable.
Steve, FBU aside, you recently attended the US Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio a few weeks back. I saw the videos on YouTube. What a fantastic turnout there was for a crowd, well over 35,000 at the game. Now, these kids were all excited. You saw the kind of stuff they got. What was the experience like for you? What did you take away from these kind of events?
It's being my 4th one. I learn more and more every year, and getting a chance to go to the awards dinner that they have for the athletes on the Friday night before the game, and get a chance to hear from the general of the Army, and they had Shannon Sharp there that actually spoke to all the kids, the former tight end for the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens, 2-time Super Bowl champion. That's all the kids and the players and all the parents and everybody else that was there that the evening before the game. So it's a fantastic experience. I would say that the U.S. Army All-American Bowl it's not just a game; it's an event. It's something that is over 7 days. The kids come in on a Saturday, and they start practice on the Sunday, and they go all the way through the week leading up to the game on Saturday. So with lots of things in between. So these kids get a chance to play against the best of the best, and like Rich has said, I think a long time ago, the one thing that these kids get an opportunity to see right away is how they stack up against the best of the best, because a lot of these kids will come from a small town sometimes, and they're the king of their town, but when they come to San Antonio, they're not the king anymore. They're just one of the strings on the bow. And so and this year's game was one of those games where we had a lot of, I think out of the 90 kids that were there, over 50 kids had 10 or more Division I scholarships. Fantastic. Which is pretty fantastic. So, and I know we talked about this before, Stewart, and our goal is to one time to put together, a Great Britain team to either come over and play our 18 and unders or 19 and unders. And what we're doing in Canada this year is very similar. It started 3 years ago. This is the 2nd year that we did our 15 and under Canada versus USA game. First year, Canada actually beat USA. Second year, which was last week, USA came back and won. And next year, we're working on an 18 and under Canada versus USA game. We'd love to be able to do the same in Europe and in the UK, is to be able to put a Great Britain team that can come over and compete in our tournament.
Steve, just quickly before we go, again, you've got the camp here in Stirling on the 20th of April. If anybody wants to get involved or register on the camp, how can they go about that? How can they contact yourselves?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Stewart. Yeah, go to our website. The easiest way to register, and it's open to anybody. We have 200 spots. We're about half full right now, so we still have about 100 positions available. You want to go to www.footballuniversity.org. It's all one word, footballuniversity.org, and you'll want to use the code, UK, so United Kingdom, UK, and then RO. To actually register. So UKRO is the registration code that you want to register at our Football University site. If anybody has any questions, concerns, they can Facebook me. It's Steve Quinn. Or they can email me at squinn, SQUINN, @footballuniversity.org. And I can tell you, if you're a football player between the ages of 14 and 30, if you're anywhere within a 4 to 6 hour radius or even further, you want to get to this camp. You know, this is without a doubt the best camp in the world. You will not be sorry that you made it. And I guarantee, if you want to be a better football player and a better person, this is where you need to be April 20th.
Is this the only camp in the UK this year?
It is the only camp in the UK this year.
So it's very important that kids across the whole of the UK try their best to get up.
No doubt about it. It's going to be the only camp in the UK this year, and we hope that the whole of the UK supports it. You know, I was actually on the phone and on the email with John Wise with BAFA, and he's actually going to be, you know, getting some information out to all the coaches and the athletes as well, and he's very supportive of Football University and what we're doing. So we're excited to have John Wise on board, and so you know, the best way to do is just tell one person, they tell 10 people, and you don't want to miss this thing. And I'd say the same thing for the coaches. You guys want, any coach that wants to come and get to be better at the X's and O's and ask the questions, the hard questions that these NFL coaches can ask. Be there on Friday night from 6 to 10. You will have the best clinicians in the world up there working with you guys, showing you how to be their football coaches.
Steve, just before we go, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us on Gridiron TV. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with yourself and getting your insight onto the game. I will see you on the 20th of April. We will be there to actually speak to yourselves and all the NFL coaches that are going to be coming across as well. So until then, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
No doubt, Stewart. I appreciate all that you guys are doing out there. Big shout out to you guys. Anything that we can ever do for you guys, please let us know.